live.
Oh, yeah. Live. Oh my god.
I like to give you a bit of warning.
You don't like to give me a warning. That's the
I
thing.
know.
You often start without telling me.
I just want to get you off guard a bit.
Well,
a little bit of spark to get the Gary comedy flames alight.
The comedy flames are like that. They've been embers for years, man.
Yeah. Are you going to be funny today, or?
I'm never going to be funny. So it's what my mum said to me when I was born.
Hey, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, mate. And, you know, I want to say, because we're in... And I often say to you, like... Oh, don't reference that we're in a pub, because it seems a bit tacky. But I'm going to reference we're in a pub today.
And I do not drink
this
and
pub,
drive.
To me, I consider this pub the meeting house, because every time we come here, we meet a random person or persons, and they come and join our table.
We do have that strange, I don't know,
attraction,
that perfume of
scent.
Creep.
Yeah.
Can we name some of the people that we've met in this pub?
Well, I can't name any of them. But
we don't know their name.
Well, there was a washed up. It wasn't washed up. He was a nice guy, like a 90s trance DJ who'd released like a number 4
one
track.
hit wonder.
But he was still living off it. Like, 'cause he was in a pub at sort of 12.
I wish I could do that.
Midday. Well, we are. And then there was who else was there? There was
3 Essex girls.
Yeah.
One of whom had won a court settlement of what, $250,000.
I don't think it's that, but she had to. Anyway, they were really nice. They were really nice girls. She'd been for a lot, and they were kind of just
funny accent,
everyone joins our table. It's our accent. It's the same accent, mate.
Yeah. Oh, and then
you're not posh.
There was another. No, I know.
He's from Norfolk.
I'm not Suffolk. There's a difference.
Suffolk, whatever.
There's a difference. We're slightly less inbred. Or more inbred, depending on where you're from.
In Suffolk, they have 2 horses to a tram. Whereas in Norfolk, you have 3.
Welcome to This is the D-Trout Spinners podcast. I am one of your hosts. This is Miles Purnell.
And I'm Gary Foster.
Thinking of dropping that.
I was thinking of dropping that. Oh, he's done it already.
Did it.
And it is New Year, so obviously we're going to talk about the show. But however, Miles, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you, Gary.
We don't say it apart from on the show.
We don't say it enough,
effect.
do we? We don't say it enough apart from once a year.
And how's your New Year?
How was my New Year? So
how's your Christmas and New Year?
Christmas was really nice. Ate a lot, drank a lot.
Looks like.
It's one of those really weird things when you come back to work, you're immediately depressed. Almost,
it's a horrible thing.
It's horrible.
I'm starting on this Monday. I haven't done any uni work.
Where do you work, Gary?
Well, I do uni work. I write essays.
And is that in an office environment,
I get paid, so
yeah, you do.
There is an office environment.
No, but it's that thing of like your body is so full of alcohol and hops and
cheese
and just seeping out of your pores. And I look old, and because I haven't had any water, so I'm so dehydrated. Haven't eaten like a solid vegetable.
But I've had loads of veg.
I've had loads of veg, but not. You know, when you live on your own, you're in control of your consumption.
No, but not because I do live on my own. But hang on a minute, just to brick you up on that.
Go on.
You're in control of your consumption too.
No, but I don't.
Mean, Kalina probably is in control of everything you ever do. But
don't mention her name.
Sorry, you cut that out. But I'm in control. But I'm just saying, my Christmas is my New Year. Like, there was vegetables being served at these events.
What I mean is, you're not doing your own shopping, like Rick Waller.
I am doing my exactly. That's a great reference from the show. Yeah.
So no, and then New Year's was interesting. I'm now I'm one of these people that I sort of hibernate in someone's house now, and I wouldn't call it a house party, but I would certainly call it a house gathering. It was me, my sister, and her husband.
There's a plane going by. It's incredibly loud. Yeah. I think we're being followed because it's a chopper.
Quality.
It's a chopper.
A quality chopper. And he's
gonna shoot. Get off the air.
Get off the air, you.
Yeah, a little.
And what always happens with every time me and my sister get drunk is it quickly escalates into a sort of sing along, into a sort of happy gay sing along. And gay, as in the proper use of the word gay these days.
Homosexual.
Yeah,
that is the proper use.
So we were singing along to like old like 90s Christina Aguilera songs and Britney Spears songs.
I must confess.
That's Britney.
Yeah, I know, but
you'd have loved it.
I do.
Did you watch Craig David on? He was a weak choice for New Year's on the Beeb.
No, but you sent me a thing with Ainsley on it. I didn't watch it. Like,
So,
we weren't watching anything.
Gary and I, we have this strange admiration and
Ainsley
affinity.
will be on this podcast before we die.
I hope he is.
He will be, honestly.
He's my absolute aspiration. Am I an absolute male
Imagine if
role
we
model?
got to know him, we're like, oh, listen, we do this podcast. He's like, could you be on it? It's like, what's it about? Well, it's about the Ricky Gervais, Stephen Merchant Club Editing show from
I'd love to be
2002.
on.
And he's like, I never listened to that. And it's like, could you come on anyway?
Yeah, please.
Could you come on anyway?
Please.
I don't want you.
I think he'd enjoy it, but I saw him on Jules Holland. The best thing about Jules Holland.
Craig David was a bit... I've seen some
He was
clips.
on the beat, but he always just does 7 days.
Yeah. Monday.
Looking for a drink, yeah, all that.
There's a bit of my stand-up routine which I'm not going to do, which is about
Do
Craig
it.
David 7 days. Almost certainly not. Almost certainly not.
The big question is, what did he do on Sunday? Was it just chill, or
I think he had.
did he have a wank?
I think he had sex again, which is basically what he said. I had sex on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, break on Friday, sex on Saturday, sex on. He's just boasting. He's
Yeah.
a boaster.
What was yours? Watch the news on
What's the
Monday.
news on Monday? What's the news on?
Did you say?
What's the news on?
I was going to sleep by 6.
I
and
do,
on Friday and
sometimes I
Saturday.
But,
What was your? So that was fun.
Yeah, it's good.
Lot of
My
I made
Christmas was good.
prosecco.
It was quiet. Some
Surprised
gran
me.
on. I got what? Yeah. So I got this present. My gran gave me a kettle. That's the present.
What kind of kettle
I've got to
was
take
it?
back. It's like a steel kettle.
Steel. Not bad. That's good.
It's good,
I'd
yeah,
rather
it's
that to a
good.
plastic one.
But my mum.
What's the sort of what's the boiling temps like? How many volume to the boiling ratio?
Do you know what you're talking about?
No.
No. Don't
How
know
fast
anything.
can it boil? Say a litre.
It boils.
A litre.
It boils a litre of water in roughly the time it takes a kettle to boil a litre of water.
Yeah. See, that sounds about right.
But my mum got me the best present. She doesn't get me presents, but she got me a present. It was right. It's like a
The 17
it's like
lesbian routine.
It looks like a
section.
tablet screen, but it's got a back, so it's 3D, so it stands up on its own.
That's all
and
right.
it's an Alexa. My God.
What?
You know an Alexa where
What
you
an-
can
what
say,
an-
Alexa,
Yeah.
Alexa,
But
play,
what has
play
a
Don't Look Back in Anger, and it literally comes on. It comes on.
No, what it actually said was, I was gonna do that
Yeah.
for you anyway.
Yeah, so she was saying, could you come up with something a bit better than that? No, but it's amazing. It was really. It's
So what is it
really
integrated
good.
within the back of the iPod?
Yeah, it's in
iPad?
it's in iPad. So you can say, Alexa, show me, because I get Amazon Prime.
That's not bad.
I get Amazon Prime for $1.99 a month
Boasting.
because I'm a student.
All right.
And but I get Amazon. So you can
But
say,
in 12 years'
you can
time, when
say,
you're not a student,
Alexa,
that'll go
play
right up.
play The Help or whatever the Amazon is on Amazon
Yeah.
Prime, and it will play it. And
Really?
Yeah. But have I used it for that? No, I've said
No.
Alexa, play Wonderwall. please."
Alex, can you play Definitely Maybe on hard rotation from now until 2021, and indeed whenever I choose to die.
2021.
So I've got a very
Did
interesting.
you get any nice presents?
So I got people basically, when in doubt, gift voucher out. That's what I say.
Bit of a cop out, but I do it as well. So
Yeah,
it's cop
but
out.
I got mum. My mum, she's into like meditation and like what do you call it? Like new age living and all that.
New age bullshit.
Shit. Yeah, new age
That's what I call
bullshit.
it.
I got her a salt lamp from the Himalayas. I didn't go there. Got it delivered from Amazon. That's what's great. Got her that. She was well happy with that. Flowers, prosecco.
Yeah, that's fine.
But my uncle, right? He gets me very interesting presents.
Now, this is your uncle, your mum's brother?
My mum's brother, yeah.
Yeah.
He, how to describe it? He gets me very, very strangely. He's absolutely lovely, very supportive person. Given me lots of money in the past to sort of
Money?
Yeah,
That's
for
nice.
money and stuff in their
My
past.
uncles wouldn't give me money if I was homeless.
No, but he got
not bothered.
So in the past, he's got me like Bobby Charlton's autobiography.
I cannot believe a worse person. Mars barely knows who Bobby Charlton is, unless he was
is
the
he
most
what?
famous.
Is he a
footballer.
dancer? What is
Yeah,
he?
he's a
What is he?
dancer. He's a dancer. Let's just say he's a dancer.
this year I went and got like
He got you Bobby Charlton's auto, but does he know you at all?
I also got 1 year. That's in past years gone. It's like Christmas. What's it? Christmas Carol. I also got 1 year I got Tiger Woods autobiography. A lot of sports.
Yeah, there's a lot. It's interesting because you're not interested in sports at all.
At all, no. But this year I didn't. I got something different.
You got
Billy Connolly's autobiography.
Good one.
I never watched the Billy Connolly show though. Is he good?
Billy Connolly is the classic kind of who I see as like an 80s, 90s comedian who I watch now, and if I watch in my body now and in my consciousness now, is not that funny. But if I put myself into an 80s, 90s context, is actually really funny and actually much funnier than.
Well, he's highly revered, isn't he? And he's often thought of as quite a popular comedian and like quite a pioneer in that.
Apart from his comedy, must be really interesting because he's come a lot.
I probably won't read it, to be honest.
Well, I'll have it.
I'll give it to you next time I see you, and that'll be my Christmas present to you for this year.
Well, I'm having a shower at your flat. That's the Christmas present.
I've got a new flat as well.
Mars has got a new flat.
Don't want to boast. I've got a place of residence.
He does not own it.
No, no.
I don't own my flat either. I've got a flat.
What was the best present you've ever got for Christmas?
Do you know, honestly, it was my Alexa this year. It is such a good present because
I think it is though, but for someone like your mum to get you that.
My mum get me a t-shirt, it's good, it's fine. My dad doesn't get me Christmas presents. But my
Top lesbian calendar of 2020.
Yeah, she gets me Cat Dealey's calendar. She said to me once, we were watching something, and she said, "Oh, Cat Dealey, she's fit." I know, but
who knows what Cat Dealey's up to now?
My mum. She loves her. But hang on, when you're having a conversation like that with your mum, it is a bit. It's like, oh, okay. Do you know? Since that day, I found Cat Dealey. She's quite attractive. I don't want to get too base. I don't want to get too base, but she's quite attractive. Since that day, I've never looked at Cat Dealey again, ever. If she comes on TV, I turn it off.
Well, she's in the US now, isn't she, doing something? Happy New Year to you, Cat Dealey. If you listen
to me.
No, I wouldn't do that.
But anyway, we've done a bit of chat. We're talking about the show. Which show are we talking about, Mars?
So this is called the D. Trout Spenders podcast with Mars Pennell and Gary Forrestal.
That's me.
Yeah.
Hey,
I'm gonna drop that.
See you later.
For any new listeners, because I always do like to start off to go, what the bloody hell is this podcast about? If you've made it this far and we're 30 mins in, what do you make of this? What is it about?
What is it about? Well, I'll tell you what it's about. It's about the show that Ricky Gervais did with Steve Merchant and Karl Pilkington, just by chance that Karl Pilkington was there. 18 years ago. Can you believe that? It is a generation. It
made me feel genuinely ill because I often do watch a lot of like Karl Pilkington clips on YouTube and stuff. I watched one recently. And he was on the what's the name of the Tim Lovejoy show, the Saturday morning cookery show. Yeah, but they often do like cookery shows and stuff. And Karl Pilkington is now 45 years old, and he was 29 when they did the shows.
No, he isn't. He's 47.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. 47. So yeah, late 40s. But at the time of the show, he was 29. And on this show, he turns
8.
Oh, is he blooming hell?
But one of
he's always been about 48 anyway.
But one of the things about exactly, he kind of always was, but now he is the age that he always was. But one of the things about this particular show, just the thing that I noticed at the beginning was, it really has a generational placement because there's they reference Tony Blair. Yeah. And could it not seem longer ago that Tony Blair was? It is, and I was thinking to myself, it seems a generation ago, but it isn't. And then I was thinking to myself, no, it's 18 years ago. It was a generation ago. Yeah. It was a generation ago that Tony Blair was Prime Minister.
It's madness, isn't it? And also to think he was celebrating on this particular episode that we're discussing, and which episode is this? So this is. So we skipped the one we decided.
Because there's a compilation. We're not going to do the compilation.
No, so this is so everyone can sort of listen along.
Episode 5.
Episode 5, and this was originally broadcast on September the 21st of 2002. So I'll put a link in the bio, and if you want now, you can listen to that and come back to the show where we're going to be.
I would absolutely. If you're a fan of Ricky Gervais, if you're not a fan of Ricky Gervais' show,
if you're a fan of us,
what the fuck are you doing with your life? But if you're a fan of Ricky Gervais, I would urge you to listen to the show that Miles puts in the bio.
Yeah,
and Miles does do all that stuff because I can't be bothered.
No, I do. I take great pride in it, Gareth. I take great pride in my.
I take great pride in not doing it.
So in this episode, Ricky, Steve and Karl discuss obesity and art, and Karl's 30th birthday leads him to think about the best thing he's ever done. And it's interesting because I'm actually turning 30.
Well, that's something I was going to reference, and I was going to say, interestingly, we're literally at the same point in this show that you are right now with Karl. So, and one of the things Karl's laments in the show is,
laments. What does that mean?
Well, considers.
Have
I had a good 30 years? Have you had a... And now I can ask Mars that, because you are exactly the age of... Now, Mars turns 30 in 2 weeks, or in a week and a half.
Yeah.
And we are actually gonna be... We're going to do a special. Let's not
preempt the special.
Let's not preempt it. But have you had a good 30 years? I can ask you that now.
Good question, Gary. Good question, Gary. Thanks for asking.
I haven't.
Well, you're 40. How old are you?
I'm 30.
Oh shit, you're 30.
I'm 43. No, I'm 35.
35. Good year. I think I've had. I kind of thought
He's grown a moustache since he's.
I've grown a moustache. That was a highlight.
He grew that when he was 2.
Yeah. So what have I done since then? I got a graduate degree, 2-1 in English language and media.
First.
Yeah,
sorry?
all right. Don't worry about that. I also, in addition to the debt that I racked up from that, I got a teaching qualification, of which I haven't used at all.
How is Marxism doing at the moment?
Doesn't matter.
What's the current state of Marxism?
Doesn't matter.
Because I only asked that because Mars tells a story where he did a class and he did it on Marx and he knows nothing about it. I'm not claiming I do, but he knows nothing about Marx. And
is this an educated Miles?
Educated Miles. Because I can't educate you either. But he knows nothing about, and I just found that.
Well,
so
my
funny.
students are all in prison or married or in unhappy.
As Miles will be in a couple of years.
Yeah. I think I've had an alright. I'm in a stable relationship.
But in general, how's your life been?
Yeah, I think it's been. I kind of expected to be in a different place in my career. Certainly.
Yeah, I think we both did.
Yeah, I kind of thought I'd be a bit more successful than doing the podcast in the pub.
That's a bit boasting.
Yeah,
I'd almost cut that out, but
I won't.
But then leave the bit where I said you should cut it out in.
Overcome depression.
You haven't. He is the most depressed person I know.
I'm not depressed. I'm well happy.
No, listen. We face challenges, mental health challenges, both of us.
Yeah.
I don't talk about mine. You talk about yours more than I do. But we're both not. But we've kind of not overcome them. I wouldn't say overcome them, but
supported each other.
Yeah, you very rarely supported me.
The pills help.
The pills support me. Yeah, not you. Not you. And the beta blockers.
Yeah, they're
which
good.
He takes propranolol. Miles is on propranolol. I am as well.
Are you?
Yeah, but I don't take them.
See, we've never bonded over that.
No, yeah.
Where do you want to go with that?
Oh God, we're going to a spa for God's sake. We're bonded
that's
over
true. Well, you ruined that.
Sorry, I just.
So let's talk about the show.
What about this? Is one of my favourite shows.
Is it really?
Mars doesn't find it, but
yeah.
I really like it, and I think I said this last week. We're getting to the start, but we're not quite there of what I would call the golden period, and I think this show is the start of it. Now, after this, we get a couple of Claire episodes, which are good on their own, but I wouldn't say if every episode was with Claire, I would say I'd get a bit bored. But Claire only does 3 episodes and they're good. But there is a Claire episode coming up soon. But this episode, I really
Claire
like.
Sturgis, ladies and gentlemen.
Claire Sturgis. Actually, Mars and I have talked about because when we started this podcast, we said who would we? We're getting well ahead of ourselves.
Yeah,
we're
who
did we want to get on? We're obviously Ricky,
Ainsley Harriott.
No, Ainsley Harriott. But we were Ricky, Steve. Obviously, Karl, and both of us agreed that Steve and Karl were much more likely to do it. I think Steve probably more than anyone, but probably neither. So then we started getting a bit further afield. So we're
Brian Blessed.
So we're Claire Sturgis, and we're
that would be interesting.
I think she would do it. But then we were getting even further. We're Dickie Anderson. If we could track down Dickie Anderson, wouldn't that be brilliant?
Imagine?
But then
how old is he now?
I don't know. He must be about 50. But then we were thinking then I was thinking, I thought after that who else tangentially the most tangentially person linked to the show, and I was thinking of some people. I thought of Peter Horton.
Peter Horton.
He's in the
Chris
Children
Campling.
of the Corn. Chris Campling. But just imagine getting like.
Oh, that would be amazing.
Imagine getting Peter Horton in, being like, well, what do you want to talk about? Like Children of the Corn? No, just because you were mentioned once
he played
in
a piece
2002
of corn.
on a local
Peter
radio
Horton.
station. Yeah, but
can I
yeah.
give you my opinion on the show? Was I thought it was quite a sort of forgotten episode, and I was actually
I really liked it.
I didn't want to listen. I didn't want to listen to it or do a show on it because I just thought my main problems with it is they spend about half the episode discussing fat people and obesity, and particularly this is something that ages the show quite a lot. And a lot of them are timeless, but this one in particular does age it when they're talking about Fat Club. And I remember watching Fat Club in 2002, and I was 12, and I used to watch it on my dad's house. That was one of the few sort of father-son bonding activities that we did in my early years.
What is that father-son bonding? I don't even know.
Watching Fat Club.
My father-son bonding
watching Vanessa Feltz on the scales.
My father-son bonding is doing Rockbusters on local
Which
radio.
he enjoyed.
Local radio station. Yeah, but that's the only thing he enjoyed. But you're right. Actually, you're right that I don't like that, and it's actually wouldn't be done today.
And I also don't like.
But I do like some of the.
And you know,
quotes in
and
it,
I
so.
actually probably years ago I would have found this like fat bashing thing like hilarious, but now I just find it quite tired and wearisome. And it kind of.
But remember, they did it before it was tired. Like so,
they did do it,
and I
yeah.
don't like it. I think it's wrong. Like, but to be fair, that's one thing about Ricky. Like, both of us have kind of thought like Ricky has gone off the rails a bit. He's very un-PC. However, during these shows, he is a voice of reason quite a lot. Like Steve was saying, like because Steve says it in this show. Steve says like. Oh yeah, he's just a fat. And Ricky says, "No, come on! Like it is a genetic thing. Like like Ricky is the voice of reason in this show. In this show, he's not in general. But I do like some of the quotes in it. Like I like.
Are you doing your top quote? You can't do your top quotes now.
Have we not come to top quotes?
Not got...
Mars has not sanctioned the top quotes. We cannot do the top quotes.
This is not the
Mars
time for the segment of top quotes.
By the way, I just want to say, I really need a wee, so I think we should break this up into 2 parts.
Should we do it now? Let's have a break now.
Do it 2 parts.
See you in a bit.
See you later.
We're back. This is the D Trout Spinners podcast. I am your host, Miles Pennell.
Sorry, we're both hosts. I just want to make
Who
that
are you?
clear. Gary Forrester. Who are you? See you later.
How was your pee? How was your toilet break?
It's so satisfying.
Yeah.
And I didn't realise until later in my life that having
you've had prostate problems. Haven't you?
Urinating releases endorphins. It's not just.
We did this last episode. Yeah.
Did we do that?
Yeah, we did. We did this
was
bit.
So predictable.
Come on, we're having some sweets.
Yeah.
But
anyway, what's your?
So anyway, coming back to what we're talking about, so there's a lot of talk about Celebrity Fat Club and a lot of fat bashing, shameless fat bashing, generally from both
Steve.
Ricky. Well,
no, not Ricky.
It's interesting because I watched that the Oxford talks, the Oxford University talks with Steve Merchant, and he said that he's never done anything in his career that would shame him, or that he would look back on and feel really bad about.
I told you about that.
Yeah, and it's interesting because this one is one where he does sort of backtrack on himself. Like he sort of has a go at Rick Waller for a long, considerable amount of time, and then goes back and it goes, no, but he says, no, but actually this is a serious concern for the future of our children. And it's like you can't backtrack on something when you've just been slating someone. You can't just suddenly change your moral stance on something. And I know people aren't perfect, and people do sort of, Christ knows I've probably said things that definitely have said.
We have, my God, we have. Go away, Mr. Waller. I like that line. But that's like Ricky. Ricky actually is the voice of reason in here, because he says, like, if we're being serious, it is a glandular thing, and it is like so.
Well, he said for a certain percentage of the population, it is.
Which is true. It isn't for everyone,
and he did say this on Room 101.
But that's true. It's true. But I agree. I totally agree.
But they do the same thing when they're talking about, and we'll get to this episode eventually, but the girl with the big head.
I don't even... Let's not mention that now, but that's totally different. That's a whole different level. I think this is more reasonable. But
he does raise a good point, though, because when he's talking about... when Karl says... It is hard to lose a bit of weight when you like pass the sponge cake section, or he likes a little chocolate muffin. What's your little vice, Gary? Can I ask you actually?
Crisps. It is crisps.
So what would your ideal packet of crisps look like?
It would look very much like a Piper's bag of crisps, with cider vinegar
and if Piper's are listening right now,
other crisps are available.
We're not on radio too.
But I do like the line. One of my favourite lines from the whole series is like where Karl's talking about this pill. He's like, and you test it on the mice. It's like the only thing is their eyes stood out on stalks. Their eyes popped out of their head, and then
he goes,
and then Ricky,
eyes that pop out of their head. Oh no, that's a different one, isn't it?
No, Ricky. No, it's different. Ricky then goes like Ricky does a little. He does this so well. A little dialogue with him and someone else in his head.
I love how your choice can be between.
He goes like that happened to the mice. Sorry, that happened to the mice. Like as if someone like that's a genuine conversation that could take place. Someone is fat and goes like, take the pill. My eyes popped out of my head. That happened to the mice. Sorry. What do you mean? You happened to the mice and you let it. That happened to the mice.
I like that they were talking about Ricky Gervais featuring on Celebrity Fat Club though, because at that point he would have been a minor celebrity, wouldn't he?
Yeah. Do you know what I don't like from the episode? And we've talked about this many times. This is the first instance of it.
I know what you're going to say.
Ricky talking about Lowry. Now,
which is what I was going to bring up next.
But Ricky's an intelligent guy.
Sorry, can we just clarify what we're talking about here?
Okay, well, So Ricky says that Karl says what art he likes, and it's Lowry. And Ricky... Now,
After going to his house.
But Ricky is brilliant at putting Karl down for things that are really jokey, and it's not arrogant at all. Like 99% of the time during this period of the show, Ricky puts Karl down. It's not arrogant. However, it's about and
I agree with you, actually.
It's so arrogant. Like,
Lowry's
rubbish. Like, Lowry isn't rubbish. Now, Lowry isn't the best artist necessarily, but he's a great artist.
Yeah.
Now, Ricky is so snide, and that is the first evidence we see for Ricky now.
Showing his pomposity.
Ricky right now. Yeah.
I think you're right, because have you seen Lowry's work?
Yeah, and one of the things I love, as you know...
Karl does say something, he goes, you see little disabled people walking around?
Oh, that's my...
And then he goes, well, that's not real then.
That's not real then.
But no, that's
actually one of my favourite lines, but it is within a context of Ricky being arrogant. That's not arrogant. That's a great line. If that's all he said, that would be brilliant.
I agree. But Lowry's not
rubbish.
Like
the master plan video.
Yes,
is in a Lowry style, and I love the master plan video.
You've never mentioned it.
I don't talk about it. I don't like to talk about Oasis.
Gary's got a massive love and passion for Oasis, particularly.
I don't even know where it comes from, but it's
I would like to know where you love it. But I think it's probably
it's just growing
being
up.
That age, isn't it?
I was 12 when Don't Look Back in Anger came out, and
you're 35 now, and you're listening to it.
I was 11. Yeah, but anyway, it was just a great time, and I think they were the last iconic band.
Yeah.
I think even you can admit that you were a bit older than me.
I would probably.
You like Block Party, but you can admit they're not iconic in the same way.
But I think like probably Kasabian are probably holding that torch for Oasis
but that's
now.
it. But they're not. Kasabian never reached levels of Oasis.
No.
Ever.
But they're probably the only band that are kind of doing the Oasis sort of, swagger and that sort of essence of cool that they had in the 90s.
But they're not. They're not.
They're not
but
Oasis.
To take it back to what we're talking about, the master plan is in the Lowry style. You know the video, don't you?
Yeah.
But anyway, I think that's very arrogant.
B-side, wasn't it?
The master plan was a B-side.
Amazing that.
The master plan was a B-side, I think. Do you know what I mean? I need to check that. But
I do know what you mean. All right.
Oh, he's funny, isn't he?
Just popping off, just sort of every now and again. Just it happens.
Farting in my family. But yeah, that is arrogant of Ricky, and I don't like that. And we've talked about that. No, but he like the whole thing. He has a brilliant line. That's the thing about Ricky. This show encapsulates why we love and hate Ricky. So Ricky is really arrogant then, but that line he
I
just
love
says
that you're
about
like looking. You're slightly looking at your phone as you're about to deliver.
but that line that he says about that's not real then.
Yeah.
That's
funny.
A great line.
Yeah, it's a funny line.
Such a great line.
I think, and thing in this episode as well. And if you want a bit of trivia, do you want a bit of trivia?
No.
Oh, I'll give it to you anyway. They go on. They're talking about like
crisps.
Gary's eating. He is eating some crisps now.
Go on.
His oily hands as he caresses his whatever
Lover.
Ricky's worst joss sticks disaster bit, and the Olympic-sized fat Brit. They were featured in his stand-up show Animals, and some of the material from Animals can originally be heard during these XFM shows.
Was they?
Yeah. And there's a few instances of this happening. On the 30th of November, he talks about the Bod Pod. On the 2nd of November, it's Rick Waller. He talks about the Falkland War, the man weighing 70 stone, a dry wipe cat, and the Ricky's Ghost go-kart story, which I actually find quite tedious.
I've got another that happened this week.
Did you?
Steve Merchant was on Would I Lie to You?
Yes. Yeah, we were going to talk about this.
We were going to talk about this, but we saved it for the show. And
so
actually,
this is the New Year's show.
Really,
and you can probably catch it on BBC iPlayer. This is Would I Lie to You?
Would I Lie to You? Maybe the 2nd of January.
Mm-hmm.
And it was basically Steve was good on it, but he was a bit anxious actually in general.
He doesn't do a lot of talk shows generally, though, does he?
I found him a bit like there was a couple of instances where he could have come back to something that Lee Mack said. He was on David Mitchell's team.
Yeah.
Lee Mack said a bit better, but he didn't. He wasn't as
sharp.
He didn't seem as sharp, but he was good. He was still good. But one of the things towards the end, he did, and it was I Was a Living Landmark, and
I love this story.
Yeah, so the story on XFM is it's one of my favourite stories where Steve. Yeah, didn't you have a balloon once? Like Ricky says to Steve, because they're talking about balloons. And there's like, I was in New Year's Eve in Bristol Square, and I had a balloon, and these girls came up to me and said, what are you doing? And can you, do you want to come back? Like he thought, they want to get me, and he's like, we just arranged to meet back at you. You can go about your business. And you go. But one of the things Karl says on that episode is Karl says. So this was in Leicester. So this was in Trafalgar Square where Nelson's column is, and Steve says no, it's in Bristol. This time he told it. He said I was in Trafalgar Square, which we know is not true.
Wow.
Now I don't think he was necessarily lying. He just went, but he
was doing it for dramatic effect.
It's funnier to be because he says, Nelson's column was there, and he says it was 10 years ago, which absolutely is not the case because. He told the story in XFM 18 years ago, and he says he talks about being famous then. Now he wasn't famous during this story because it was told 18 years ago,
which means
probably
he would have been
about
18,
5 years before that.
So he would have been what, like 22?
22, 21. But that's just interesting how these stories get told later on and they get changed. It wasn't, and it was like I was like one of the select group of people who knew that it wasn't true. But who knew? I also knew that the general story that he was telling was going to be a truth. But it wasn't going to be a lie But it's interesting how they change it.
The
slightly,
story just
and he changed.
But that happens a lot in the podcast as well. Can I ask you a question? Actually, this whole telling of stories and the retelling of stories, I actually think is like a really interesting point in like the way that we kind of commentate on our own lives. Do you have because in my own head, right, I've been on date when I was single and I sort of went on dates, I had like a select few anecdotes to hand, like on my Filodex of stories that I know will guarantee a laugh. But it's funny.
Trod in some shit.
It's not that's not funny.
Depending on who you dated.
Yeah,
it was one of those girls last week.
They'd have loved it.
They'd have loved it.
Old Essex ladies. I love it.
We shouldn't take
No.
We're no better than them.
No.
We're no better than them.
I don't know. She's got £250,000. I don't. Wish I did. Had you... What, in Birmingham?
No, in Liverpool. It's even worse. Yeah, it's even worse.
You know what I was going to say is...
The cheapest flat in the world. It cannot get cheaper than that. It's the smallest flat. It's like one...
Gary rents out to penniless students, ladies and gentlemen. He's an absolute launderer.
Yeah, go on, what was your question?
I think it's funny like how we like edit and moderate our stories as we get older.
Yes, that's true. Absolutely. I'm sure stories I tell about what happened to me when I was 25.
Because it's like your version, particularly as you get older. Like,
that's why I said when I said about this with Steve, I said I don't think he's lying. I think it's changed in his head. Mm-hmm. Like it's changed in his head.
But this is what time does to you, isn't it? Like you change events and things, and your version of that story will change and differ to the point where like truth actually becomes like largely indifferent, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Because you're never going to be able. You tell that story depending on what company you're in to achieve a certain result. Clearly, for the benefit of that show, he had to make that story plausible, and to make it more plausible, it makes more sense that he was in Trafalgar Square.
Funnier.
Yeah, exactly. But that's the whole point of the show, isn't it?
Do you know the best person at this? The person who does this? No, it's actually Bob that does it fantastically. But Bob, I think Bob changes stories so much.
In your throat, is it?
I think Bob changes stories so much that he does it really funnily.
I believe that those things did happen as they happened.
But the best person to embellishing a story is Johnny Vaughan. Like I have, like Johnny Vaughan, you can tell.
You're a big fan of Johnny Vaughan. I've never.
But Johnny Vaughan, when he tells a story, you know that about 35% is absolutely true and 65% is completely embellished, and he does it really well. Actually, like he does it really well. Like that, if you do it well, and we all do it. Yeah, I agree. When I've told stories about things that have happened in my past, I probably embellish it. Even stories that show me in a bad light. Like when
I'll make them deliberately worse.
When I kick my manager, like for example, I've told you that. Like I probably made it worse than it actually was. Like, and I got to another team. Like, but that was a different. Yeah, but
can you fill new listeners in on what this story was?
No, well, I went out on a team night out, and I was with one of the people on the team. I was with one of the people on the team, and like in a relationship, and we were arguing. Anyway, I ended up kicking my manager,
as you do,
quite hard in the leg. But I've told that story, and it's been much worse than it actually was. And so we do that. Well, I think we all do that.
Yeah, I think we do it, but it's just interesting how that version of the truth distorts over the years. And also, this is going to sound a bit bleak, but I always think like in the story of our lives, like however old we are, we've all got like I was watching Dame Edna Everett on Everidge, sorry, and it was interesting because she's someone very very national treasure. But clearly someone who's got very good, trademark catchphrases.
Amazing. I just want to direct the listeners
Humphries.
to one particular interview that he did on Little Women. Just go to that.
As in Little Women the book, or
no on sorry, not Little Women.
Loose Women.
I'm so yeah. Loose Women. Absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
One of the best, funniest interviews I have ever seen in my life. Now, there's some interviews where I've seen Barry Humphries be interviewed and he's not been quite on it. When he's Dame Edna, he usually is on it, but when he's being interviewed as Barry Humphries, he's not on it. It's so interesting as some people...
How they're your persona, yeah.
They're not. They're shy people.
He's straight as well.
Yeah, I know.
Unbelievably.
Oh, yeah, he's not. He doesn't do it. He does it for entertainment.
Yeah.
He doesn't do it like as
partake in the dark arts. Yeah, sure.
Sorry?
Yeah, it's just very... No, it's interesting. But I just think of, like, when you look back on your own lives, like, that you've got this select view of stories that basically sum up your life in different decades. And I find it quite interesting. A little bit depressing, but I find it quite interesting that it's how you remember those things that really give significance to your life. And that kind of, create a timeline of your life, as it were. Do you know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Sort of, but I mean, you've lost me a bit in terms of what you actually mean.
Yeah.
Is the significance of it. Do you mean, like, for example, that when you look back on 10 years of your life, you look at what you tell people about that 10 years, you compare it to the reality, and it's kind of a bit different. And you're like, wow, I've had a
and also, like, on a day-to-day basis, like, not that many interesting things happen to people, but it's those, like, little anecdotes and those little fun things that happen to you, and these are things that you remember, and they're often, like, either the most embarrassing or the most shameful things, or the most, like, you know, these things are really funny, and you probably hate them whilst they're happening. But on reflection, they're actually really, like, character defining. They're character defining. Yeah. But it's also a bit depressing to go, a lot of stuff did actually happen in between that, but I'm not telling that bit. I'm only remembering the best bits of my life.
Well, that's an interesting thing about this particular. And I know, obviously, we're going through the Ricky Gervais show, episode by episode. However, we do happen to be at the anniversary of a new decade, and it is an interesting thing. I've reflected on this decade, and actually for you it's a bit more significant because your decades coincide with your turning 30,
because I was 1990,
40, 50, 60. So I have looked on my last decade and I thought, bloody brilliant decade. No, I've had a good decade. I
think you have.
When we first met, we're both in unhappy relationships. Miles is now in a happy relationship.
How things change.
And I'm not in a relationship, but I'm happy. I'm happy not in a relationship.
I'm joking.
Yeah, you would like me not to be happy.
That's not true. That is not true. That is not true.
I'm sort of dating at the moment, but I'm not in a relationship.
Another thing I was going to say about this episode, it's interesting. Actually, I've got a lot more to say on this than I initially thought.
It's not football. That's another quote I love.
Yeah, that's not football.
It's like, can you imagine Ricky Gervais playing football? It's like you playing football.
Yeah.
You never played football.
But I really wanted to be there for when Karl first went to Ricky Gervais's house. Wouldn't that be amazing?
Noble bollock.
Yeah. But imagine, like,
But I think about those, and that
was probably the first time Karl and Ricky probably spent any time together, and they And yeah, you probably went to his flat, and it must have been like that same thing. Do you remember when you were at school and you go around your best mate's house, or even someone that you didn't know that well, and you have like beans, chips, and and sausages or whatever it is. Yeah. And it's like that thing of that was the first time. For fuck's sake! So if anyone's listening, I'll keep saying that.
Stop saying that.
Because it brings it down.
Assume that no one is already.
Gary has just finished a packet of Piper's cider vinegar and sea salt crisps, and he's now bringing out a packet of a double wrapped
cheese sandwich.
Very unethical. It's a cheese sandwich wrapped in tin foil.
There is no veganism going on here.
And what kind of cheese is that? Is that Cathedral
Cheddar,
City? Would you say?
Cheddar. It probably is.
And it's on brown. It's on brown bread, and the crusts are still on. Not red. Looks a bit like red Leicester. That.
No, so that's the coleslaw.
Oh, you got coleslaw as well. Oh, you decadent arsehole.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, that is decadent. That's Miles' version of decadent. We're going to Spa. That's decadent, mate.
So I was going to say, because I normally skip the sort of what's the song bits usually in these episodes.
What do you mean? What's the song?
You know when this is the early precursor to Rockbusters.
Oh yeah, I've got some Rockbusters.
So I know. Yeah, but basically, let me explain my stance on this, because I normally skip on the bit because I don't really like the bits of audience interaction, but actually they're really funny.
Yeah, they're sweet. They're sweet, really I would say.
Because they don't usually allow listeners onto the show. And actually, Steve's actually a bit mean to people that
Again, Ricky's the voice of reason there. Steve is quite a mean guy. Like there's another episode where Steve says, "Piss off."
Piss off, yeah.
Piss off. And Ricky goes, "You can't say that to the listeners."
Exactly. But I actually think it's pretty funny. Gary, as a bit of a difference, as a sort of organic feature that I've kind of augmented from this episode, I want to bring up something. So this is a feature and it's called What Would You Do? What would you do? What would Gary do? And this has all sprung up from at one point in this episode, Ricky asks, no, Karl asks Ricky, if you lost your hands and the doctor could only give you stumps or feet to replace, which you would pick, what would you choose?
Yeah, I was going to ask you. I've been thinking about this.
This is whilst he's doing the washing up.
I would choose feet. I would choose feet.
Well, you'd wash up with your feet.
No, I'd choose feet if I could have them put there, or stumps.
Would you?
Stumps would be so... Like, at least with feet you could do something. It would look weird, but you could do something with them.
Yeah, it's hard to imagine, isn't it? Like having toes for hands. Having toes for hands. But this often got me thinking about like other scenarios one might find themselves in. And one thing I like to do when I'm around the lunch table at work is to do this thing called lunchtime questions, which is actually what I'm going to call them. So Gary, this is my what would you do lunchtime question to you. If you had to never work again, but you would only get your current annual salary every year, or carry on as the way you are, with the potential to make more money, but you'd have to work, what would you do?
The second one.
Carry on the way you are.
No. Yes, carry on the way I am. I wouldn't guarantee my annual salary, which is only 15 grand, because it's a stipend from the Economic and Social Research
So you
Council.
what? Even if you knew you were never going to work again, but you'd get 15k.
Yeah, I'd carry on as I am and get more money.
See,
The point is, for me particularly, you like, if we compare salaries, you earn far more because you earn a salary. I don't earn a salary.
What about when you used to work at a certain?
Well, maybe I'll keep that actually, because that's like, yeah, I don't want to say, but yes,
you were on good money even back then.
yeah, it's good money. Yeah,
Yeah.
I was investigating fraud, mate.
Well, I'd definitely pack up the job. I'd be happy.
Would you?
Yes.
Well, that's what a pension is called. But you're not allowed to pension to 65 and you're 30. You're 29.
Yeah, but I still get the money that I'm on now.
No, but
And that would see me alright till I'm dead. I'm pretty confident.
with inflation, it wouldn't be worth that much in 10 years.
What, do you not... What, in 10 years?
No.
In 10 years... Do things change that quick?
Double it in 10 years, yeah.
It's interesting to know.
Especially under Boris. Could you not do that, actually? I don't like that.
Sorry, mate. Gary, I'm going to do my top 10 quotes now that we've secured what you would and wouldn't do. So, an honourable...
Okay. I want to give mine as your do. So we'll do one each.
Can I do my honourable mention first?
Yeah, go on.
Bloke phones up. He goes, "Are you a bloke?" Bloke goes, "Yeah." He goes, "Hold on." And another bloke calls up. He goes, "Oh, are you a bloke?"
Are you the woman?
I went, "Are you the... We wanted a woman." He goes, "Put the woman on." She came on. He went, "Are you the woman?" I love that quote.
Could I just give one of mine now? So, it's where he says, you know, he doesn't mean the point that Jono is old, but he just means,
He's about my age,
he goes, yeah, he's not old, he's my age.
I took that out.
Do you know what it is? I love any quote where Ricky says, Ricky ends it with, you. There's a few of them. There's in The Office and this. And
He's about my age, you.
You.
Okay, so number 5 in my top list of this, on my top quotes of this episode, he wears a little cap with a little bit of sponge.
A little bit of sponge on the top.
just the idea of a little man with a little bit of sponge.
A little bit of sponge.
Number 4, thinking of dropping that, which we said earlier in the show.
We love that. We've referenced that between ourselves many times over the
because it says
months.
so much about their relationship, doesn't it? About Ricky and Steve's relationship. The fact that Ricky, I was listening.
But they planned that. You know, they planned that.
I was actually
I
was a bit naughty. I actually listened to a later episode with Claire Sturgis.
We're not allowed to do.
We're
that.
not allowed to. No,
we are.
But it was about Ricky meeting.
Of course we are, yeah.
It's about Ricky meeting David Bowie, and he was saying.
Yeah, but let's not talk.
No, we won't talk about that. And number 3, and this is Ricky talking about Jono, and he says it's funny. He does a breakfast show on art. He's wrecking his own. There's a bit of irony in there.
Yeah,
which is it's a really funny quote, but also it's the way that Karl says it's so deadpan and the fact that he's wrecking his own.
He's sort of wrecking his own,
Yeah.
which is so true. You know, I don't know about do you know what, this isn't a quote. I know we're going, but I really find it funny that Jono, and I can totally believe this because I know other fat people that have done this, and I'm not serious, but that wear shorts when you wear a suit.
Yeah.
But he wears Bermuda shorts.
Bermuda shorts, which is like what, Hawaiian shorts?
By the way, I need to buy some Bermuda shorts for our spa.
Well, because the stretch pants that you're wearing now they're not giving enough, are they?
I'm wearing tracksuit bottoms. But
why did you put them on this morning?
Because I just wanted, I couldn't be bothered to wear jeans. I could not be bothered to do a belt up.
I know, but you knew you had to go on the gym while other people were looking at you.
Oh, God, you know. I want to get a pair of swimming trunks before we go to the spa.
Would you not have ones anyway?
I've got ones, but people have said they look like bird shitting on them. It looks like white and it's black in the form of bird shit. That's what other people have said.
So what ones are you going to get?
Probably just some nice
a base primary colour.
Aqua blue. I don't know.
What are you going to use first? You can use the... So, Gary and I, we're going to go to a spa.
I don't want to talk too much about it. But
no.
Yeah,
so what kind of ones are you after? So you're going to just go...
Just some ones that I feel comfortable in, like
Aqua
these.
blue, yeah. So number 2 on my list, or a stick man with eyes on stalks. I mean, Steve's chose that.
Well, that's the quote
you
I
said.
Yeah.
Which is great, you know, because that's just a classic, you know, Ricky ripping on Steve.
I mean, Steve's chosen that.
Steve's chosen that. He's going, all right. And then my top 10 quote, my top 5 quote of this episode is, this is during the sort
of... You've got 5 more to go?
No, this is my number 1. And this is whilst they're playing Rockbusters, or what's the song as it's called then. And he goes, they're playing for a video here.
Okay, that's quite a subtle one. Yeah,
I like it so much because it's like Karl's. He's so happy with his competition.
And it's like Karl means VHS.
Yeah,
it's like an old video. Like they're playing for Children of the Corn 2. And that's another. This is from another episode, I don't know. But if it's Children of the Corn 2, can I enter this week? Again, I love that.
What are yours?
Well, I've got. He's not old, he's my age, youth. And then I've got, that happened to the mice. Sorry?
That happened to the mice.
And then I've got it's not football.
Yeah.
And then I've got, go away, Mr. Waller. Because Ricky does that. Ricky goes into... Actually, that's an interesting point, because Ricky is so much better than Steve. Steve is good. Steve is a funny guy. But Ricky is so much better as Steve.
I think Steve's the mediator, isn't he, between the three of them?
But the going into... a completely tangential, like, conversation between two random people that is commenting on what they've just talked about. So Ricky is great. Like, that happened to the mice. Sorry? That happened to the mice. That's such a subtle thing, but, like, it's so funny because he says... It's like Steve would never have come up with that. Because Steve would have said, I don't know... Oh yeah, that's made your eyes pop out and stalks. So, but Ricky has an actual conversation that someone whose eyes popped out on stalks that was fat that actually took those pills might actually have. Like,
but he's very quick, isn't he?
And then someone else, like as if someone else said to him, like, "Oh, my eyes are popped out on stalks." He doesn't say that bit, and then he goes, "Well, that happened to the mice." Sorry,
that happened
to the mice. Like, and if you carried that on, it'd be like. What do you mean that happened to the mice? What, it's just some mice that's happened and you let this go to me, this fat man.
Yeah.
You let me have this and this happened to the mice. But that's like, it's just a subtle thing, but I think Ricky is so good at those little subtle conversations.
He's just great at like constructing a sketch from nothing, isn't he?
And he's unrivaled because I don't think of anyone, maybe Bob Mortimer in this similar situation could have come up with something. But now we're not fans of Ricky now necessarily, but Ricky then was amazing at that. And Steve is a funny guy, but Steve does not come up with that sort of stuff.
Yeah,
and
I completely agree.
I think we're probably done now for this week.
We are
next time. We're going to be in a spot.
We are going to be in a spot. Sorry, we are nearly done. But Gary, music. We're nearly done.
No, go on.
Music plays a big part in the show.
It does, and they have good music taste.
They do have good music. So what I thought would be something that quite nice, of what we could do for fans of the D-Trout Spinners podcast with Mars Pennell is
So sorry, don't do that. Do it right. Say that right.
What I thought would be something.
No. Say it right. Don't.
That's what I was going to do.
No.
The D-Trout Spinners
It's
podcast.
not the D-Trout Spinners podcast with Mars Pennell.
And Gary Forrester, he's also here.
Yeah, don't fuck around with me. Go on.
I thought we could choose a song every week, and I can collate these into a list on a playlist on Spotify. So if you're a fan of this show, you can listen to the type of music that what we would play had we had our own show on XFM. Which
we would like.
Yeah, which
please.
We would like. Thank you very much. It's now called
listening.
Radio X, or on BBC Radio 2, or on BBC Radio Z. But anyway, but this will be available. This will be available.
John Graham.
Yeah, this will be available to the public, and basically, it's a week-on-week selection of songs that I will add to our playlist, and you can listen to them, and you can feel like you're in a little disco with MP and GF. So Gary, I'm guessing your choice is going to be. I'm throwing you on the spot. I was going to say Master Plan.
No, I would say Paint It Black by Rolling Stones. That's fine.
And why would you say that?
I think it's a great song. Deal. I think it's got such a great intro, like the bass guitar.
Yeah.
I just think it's a great song. But you know as well as I do that my favourite songs are Oasis, but I'm just picking something different.
I respect
Paint
that.
It Black.
I respect your opinion, Gaz.
Don't fuck around with me. That's it. But no, I'll pick Paint It Black. So what's your song?
Oh man, that's good. That's a good shout.
Well, hang on, you've come on this page. You must have one.
Do you know what? Actually, talking today, I think we should put the Master Plan on there. Because we were talking about Lowry, we're talking about the music video.
We'll put Paint It Black and the Master Plan.
That's it. Okay. So, guys, if you want to listen to our playlist, I'm gonna label it. It's gonna be called the D-Trout Spinners Podcast Playlist, and you're gonna listen to Oasis, the Master Plan, and Paint It Black by Oasis.
And we will see you next week with
our special,
a sexy spa
special. Can you imagine that? Sexy spa sitcom special. I've been Mars Pennell.
Gary Forrester.
Thinking of dropping that.
Yeah,
let's drop that.
Do we like that?
See you later.